right, I know I already did my video with chapter 1127, but apparently I'm back because everyone's talking now about the possibility of something being off with this last chapter, something being wrong with Elbaf, and I'm convinced, like, yes, obviously, there's something going on. Now, I just figured, and I still think this is what's going on, that the outside world of Elbaf that we're seeing here is like a toy box because we have Legos in the environment. We're in a Lego castle, there's a giant cat, it's fine. Like, I'm going with this is somebody's toy box, and the people are being used like action figures. That's who the sun god is in this situation. The god of this world is the one who owns the toy box, is kind of the vibe I'm going with. Now, people were saying there's so many continuity errors. Is this an effect of the drink that they had, or is something else going on? Is it Loki? Is it somebody controlling the situations? Because Oda has made continuity errors in the drawing in the past. There have been mistakes, obviously. I think, what was it, it was Luffy's scar was under the wrong eye one time, or a devil fruit user was floating when they shouldn't have, kind of thing. Very floaty wood. But this many in one chapter has to be intentional. The only ones I really noticed was Nami having a sword to Nami not having a sword. I think I just took it as cool sword. I like the sword. Can we keep the sword? And maybe a little bit of, well, Zeus is using the battle baton. Maybe it has an attachment that looks like a sword handle now when she wears it on her back. What? Not that big a deal. I didn't really pay much attention to it. It makes a little bit more sense if it's almost like an action figure that only has like a hold spot for one thing and somehow the other one gets in the way. But I mean, for one be down the back and one be down the arm, that doesn't make sense. But like swapping out different weapons randomly when you're playing with action figures kind of worked. Then you have Luffy having a sword and then switching to an axe the next time. Him not having his straw hat is a big one. Like, I just figured he was wearing it on his back. But the sword to axe switch is a lot to just assume is nothing. But the big one is going to be using a Gear 3 attack but calling it Gear 4. And I did take note of that, but I just figured, oh, translation error, little mini mistake because I didn't take note of all the other little things that have been inconsistent throughout the chapter that everyone else had pointed out. And I'm like, interesting. Originally, I'm like, will this be corrected in the Viz translation? Is there enough time for them to fix that if it is an error? Or did it come out in Japan, it got scanned, we've seen the fan translations, like, oh, it's out in Japan, we can't make the change in the Viz. Maybe they'll correct it in the physical books. Do we think it was an accident? Or is it intentional? I want to believe it's intentional. That this is our clue, that somebody is controlling the Straw Hats. They have vibes of who they are from watching them on television, in the newspaper, but they don't know the details. So they know Luffy has these attacks, but doesn't know which they fall under. And if that's the case, is this Luffy? This is not an original thought. Seen this on Grand Line reviews, and I adore it. So Luffy's eyes are closed in the chapters that we see him, are blocked with the helmet, and they theorize that it's a possibility that this is not Luffy. It's someone in disguise. So the controller, maybe, of the toy box, the controller of this world. I'm all for it, because when they take down the cat, they say, let's skip on eating this one. When is Luffy passing up a meal? Do we think Luffy would not eat the cat monster? Is it just not appetizing? But, like, they ate the rabbit previously, still filled up on the rabbit. He's passing on food. It's suspicious. And back to just, like, they don't know who changed them into these outfits. Zoro, granted, you gotta know our world context. Zoro now wearing that mask reminds me a little bit more of like the Zoro from like the Mask of Zorro, the more dressed in black, Cape Crusader guy. I feel like if someone got to pick out Zoro's outfit, they'd take that mask. I don't like the mask, but they would pick that for his character, that they know him of, not because they know him as a person. I'm just saying, they feel like they're moving as action figures. Even Nami, I said in my original one, she feels too damsel in distress in this chapter. But it makes sense if she's being played with. I was pointing out in my comments as well that Sanji previously had a hatred for, or was scared of the bees and the bugs and everything. I think it was on Jaya. And I'm all for that being just written off like as a one-off gag, like, oh, scared of the bugs, compared to now, hey, bugs are a good form of nutrition. And it makes sense too for just character growth. Hey, I didn't like to eat this in the past. I now view this as a form of nutrition. I know how to cook it. I know I can make it good. So that inconsistency with Sanji's character does not bother me at all. Zoro, however, that one is a little bit harder for me to get behind. Now, Zoro always acted like he knew where he was going, that he had a sense of direction. He just ended up being wrong. But for him to be so direct, saying we should find the sea to secure our crew and the Sunny and all that, is just the logic of knowing find the sea. Does he know which direction the sea is in? Hard to say. Is he acting off? Is he acting like he has too much of a sense of direction? And again, it makes sense for why there are Legos in the world itself outside the castle. I had assumed that, you know what, Big Mom came to town, destroyed everything that one time, the giants are fighting, there are duels for honor, and you know what, Legos are easy to build with, so that's why they keep them around, that's why things are made out of Legos here. But I like the idea of it being a toy box. Now, it could also be the fact that the world tree, based on, is it Greek mythology? Oh my god, it's Norse mythology. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. So we have all these different worlds, which opens up the potential for other worlds. Now, we could be in the land of the gods, which, fair. We have the ear god, we have the sun god. You know what? We could be in the land of the gods, and that's made of Legos. I like this being the toy box world. Then the crew can show up on a different world, maybe the one that the giants that they're familiar with know about, and it opens up the potential for the underworld. I want the underworld. So if Vivi shows up, which I will love, they can all travel through the underworld together to get whatever it is they need, possibly a poneglyph. And I love the idea of them having to get to the River Styx, having to sail through it, followed and held by the spirit of the Mary, which will continue on their journey. I really just need the Mary to come back and for it to sail across the River Styx. I love it. I love it so much. You could have interactions with their loved ones. Vivi could see her father again. I just, oh, I need it. I need it so bad. So I'll take any explanation that gives me that. I forgot to film an outro. Here's the cat. Hello. So what do we think's going on? Do we think that they're in a different world? Do we think that it's a toy box? Do we think it's Loki? Do we think it was the stuff they drank? Are they being hypnotized? Is this all a dream? Have we done a dream sequence yet? What do we think's going on, Elbaf? Because this can't be a coincidence, can it? All right, talk to you later. Bye.